Hello, this is Blaine Baribeau, and in this interactive modeling assignment, I will be modeling my expectation for my future students to show proper respect for their sharing of each other's different opinions during class discussions. The reason why I want to model this expectation is because in class discussions, students will have the opportunity of sharing their different opinions and what they have learned. This can happen in any class in any subject, especially when it pertains to history. The reason why is because as we learn about history, how we understand it can be different from what another person understands it. So it is very important in class discussions that as we learn together what we have learned, as we learn together history, we need to show charity for each other's opinions. We must respect each other as we share them, especially since all of us have different opinions all the time since we are unique. They may be similar, like they may have a similar core, but nevertheless, we need to respect each other for the different opinions that we share. So here's how I will model this. This has been mentioned in my positive environment class before, but I figured that this would be a good idea to model it, and to model it more properly. Is that the example I will give is that after I would teach my class on the American Revolution, I would have a simple class discussion with them, like based on what my individual students have learned. I would ask them whether they believe that the American Revolution was conservative or radical, so that I can learn how they understand the American Revolution. I would ask my individual students what they would think. So, for instance, I would expect my students to be quiet when one student is speaking. Let's say that when I open this discussion, that I would ask a student to raise his or her hand, and I would let that student speak. I expect all of my students to be quiet and attentive, and not to say anything inappropriate. And to be quiet and attentive, and if they have any comments, they would be given after the person is finished speaking. And no inappropriate use of language whatsoever, and no method of disrespect to what my student has said. So let's say that I'm one of my students and I've raised my hand, and my teacher has told me my position. I would say, I believe that the American Revolution was more conservative because this and so on and so forth. I would be another student, and I would be quiet and attentive, and if I raise my hand after my fellow student is finished speaking, my teacher would call me, and I would say that is a very interesting position. I believe that the American Revolution was more radical because of this, and this. So it is a simple class discussion without any arguments, like without any confrontations. Just a simple, plain discussion in which all of my students participate, and they do not show any hint of disrespect towards each other. So I would ask my students to model the example I did. I would ask a student to give a position, and I would ask the others to be quiet and attentive, and to be respectful in their responses afterwards. And of course, I would ask for feedback. I would ask for feedback in how everything went. I want to make sure that all my students respect each other in my classroom, because the subject of history is one in which we learn together. And if we are to learn together, we must respect each other. So this is why I wanted to model this for you. Thank you very much.